have added as well, I think on Roll20, hopefully it will be there. Yes, there's a new button that should be visible for random crew determination. So if I need something randomly determined, which I will tonight, it will be fair and determine which one of you it happens to, rather than me picking. Right, we up and running? Yep, we are now up and running. So, welcome to Star Trek Adventure Damocles. It's myself, Chris, your host and GM for tonight, and along with the other motley crew, and we'll be mangling our way through Star Trek Adventures by Modiphius. A lot of house rule stuff. I've done things that make things easier for me to run the game, but essentially it's pretty much how the game runs. Set in the Star Trek universe, of course, but approximately, I think I said was 10-15 years after the end of the Dominion War. And things are about to get quite interesting. So first of all, I'm going to start off with the recap of the last mission. Last time, well, there was a ping pong tournament on board the ship, to which a certain Andorian pretty much decimated the poor Lieutenant Ricky, our resident Bajoran Helms officer. And it was not long after that a Vulcan paid a visit. A Vulcan who just happened to be the father of Tolek. He was there nominally to give the final inspection towards the ship's AI, Archie, but before he could send off his report, a rather disturbing bit of news was sent from Cardassia, namely that Tolek's mother had in fact been kidnapped by a group led by Gol Gulek, I suppose you could call him a Cardassian war officer who, after the Dominion War and the fall of Cardassia, went a little bit bonkers. They found where they were being kept, but they didn't find any guards. Just a few holograms and a few bit of mining technology. And something deeply buried, approximately 300,000 years ago, had been taken. For the most part, the captured away team had been looked after. Even though a small incident involving the Andorian and the away team, who in her, shall we say, over-eagerness to protect somebody she saw as part of her extended family, almost sent Tolek's mother through a scattering field. And good evening to everyone who's just joined us. There was a reprimand from the captain. Whilst it wasn't official, he did warn Tira to be a little bit more careful in the future. So, we're now going to cut forward a couple of weeks. Captain's log, supplemental. We have returned to the 7th moon orbiting HTA S1e11b in this previously uncharted star system. To say this mission has been strange would be a vast understatement. One moment, I'm going to fire that one. And I'll open that as well. Okay. 2 days ago, we were engaged in a routine science survey of the moon's surface. Unknown to the away team, and who does this affect? Davrin was inadvertently sucked into the digestive tract of a sentient botanical life form. The botanical life form cloned our crewman and sent the clone back to our vessel in his place. This clone was finally discovered when the crew members realised that the doppelganger could not talk and grew roots from its hands to ingest food and water whilst in the mess hall.
So it can't have taken them long to realise it wasn't Davrin then if it wasn't talking.
It was pretty much like the first. It's just like, Davrin, he's not talking.
My antennae are tingling.
So everyone's like, he's being very, very, very quiet. What's going on? He's not even eating. You can imagine the shock that this gave the onlookers. We have now returned to the moon, And luckily, we have confirmed that Davrin has remained unharmed, but still in his giant stasis pod that was attached to one of the aliens. Well, our chief botanist believes that this was simply a first contact situation gone wrong due to the fact that there was an unusual amount of synaptic activity present in the plant and between Davrin. He has now, from what I've been told, been safely removed from the pod, and I'm now awaiting the away team's return. We're going to very quickly cut to the planet in which a soaking wet Davrin, covered in plant goop, is sitting at the base of what can best be described as the Venus flytrap. The away team is around scanning the area, doing all the usual things. So, what's going on with you lot?
Davrin is sort of clawing the scoop off his face and flicking it onto the ground nearby. He looks pretty dazed and confused.
Yeah, one of the medical officers is scanning yourself and the symbiont as well, and it's like, everything seems okay, sir. In fact, we think that it was your connection with your symbiont that made you a candidate. It seemed to use very similar, same sort of chemical methods.
Do you know what? It's always the symbiont's fault.
If in doubt, blame the symbiont.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was the last time I had a truly encounter with a truly alien being, actually. So.
And I say, Tonic, can you just roll a reason and science task for me, please?
Reason and
So we are there too?
Yeah, you're basically just there to recover him, and it turns out it's just literally the plant's just gone, oh, you come back from, oh, I'm sorry. And sort of giving him back. He's just literally covered head to toe in what can best be described as a stinky mucus.
Devlin, you never told me that you are vegetarian.
What's the opposite of vegetarian when the plant eats you?
Carnivore?
Carnivorous?
That's what I am now.
You see, these plants, they're sort of humanoid size, roughly. You know, the plants have like I don't know what you call them, the leaves that sort of fold round. There's various sizes, small ones, large ones, but there's a few creatures, I suppose you could say, trapped inside them, but none of them seems to be in distress. Just sort of covered up. Okay. So, Tyler, you notice that there, the original findings, there seems to be very, very faint traces of, I suppose you could call it, neurons running through these plants. In fact, if you had to put an educated gaze to it, you would say that these plants are almost like a hybrid between I don't want to say organic life form, but a non-plant life form and plant. They are.
Are they evolving or?
Their evolution seems to be pretty stable. Make another reason science roll, actually.
Right. Is this? Well, it's probably botany related. If it's biology, I would use.
Yes, it's got a biology essence to it.
All right. Let's see here.
You believe that each one of these plants acts as, if it was in a human, the equivalent of a neural cluster. And by taking in a sentient life form, that is how they, and goop in them, it's how they learn.
Ah, interesting. Oh, fascinating, rather.
Because every creature that you scanned inside any of these plants, and you can tell some of these have been here for quite a while, are in actually surprisingly good health. It's as if the plant is maintaining them.
So, can we communicate with them?
How do you want to try?
I mean, we have a drill and a Vulcan. They are the telepathic ones. Because I don't see any mouth. Or can we scan for some pheromones and similar
You tell me what you're doing, and I'll tell you.
If it's been learning by absorbing humanoids for a long time, then it's possible it would recognise simple codes and patterns.
So, which what are you going to try?
Which we could perhaps, I don't know, use electrical pulses or something.
The question is, there are plants who can communicate via smell and similar stuff. So, can we scan for that first, and maybe we can synthesize
Certainly.
the
Again, this is going to be
special,
another reason science round. This is going to be because of Tolik's speciality in biology, and because these plants are that sort of weird plant. I got
I'm just
animal. Then yeah, give it a try.
Yep.
Very nice, very very nice. As you're scanning the plant, you notice that there is feedback as you increase the, I suppose you can call it the pulses of your tricorder. Nothing harmful, just sort of like if it was a sound, it would be the equivalent of going woom, woom. And as you are making those adjustments to your tricorder, you notice that the energy readings being given off by the plant seem to almost match. There's like a slight delay, but it's like vroom, 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 sort of thing. That's the best way to describe it.
Lieutenant Devon, did you experience any form of contact from the plant while you were in there?
Did I, Mr. GM?
Not that you can remember.
Right, so I'm blanking on what happened while I was in there.
It's not so much a blanking, it's more as if you had a dream that you've just woken up from but you can't quite remember.
Honestly, Tolek, I don't remember.
You can't show us that the plant touched you?
All over.
Yeah, I mean, I was inside it, so...
It's
touched pretty much everywhere except inside me, thankfully.
And we've...
Sure.
That's not bad, 13 minutes and we've already progressed to the filth. Yeah, I mean, it's the gel that is being very, very carefully cleaned off of Davrin. You know, it has a sort of almost like a very slight conductive quality to it.
Oh, right.
So, yeah, and like I suggested then, perhaps electrical pulses.
Yes. Well, apparently sonic wavelength seems to draw in reaction of the plant.
Okay.
I wonder if it has picked up Morse code. I will just try to send a hello in Morse code.
Okay, this is going to be a DC of 2. Again, a reason science roll.
Right, rolling the same as usual.
Okay.
Yep.
You get the same message that you get sent back.
That's not helpful.
Whilst you're sending it at a certain volume, the volume of that's being sent back is very, very slightly different.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost like it's repeating the words back to you.
So it's learning the words as we show them. So we have to teach them from communication before we can communicate with them.
In effect.
That seems like it's going to take us a while.
Yes.
However, before you can progress, all your comm badges go off with a beep beep.
Okay, I acknowledge the comm.
Yeah.
Damocles to the away team. I'm assuming our resident Trill is safe now.
I'm safe, Captain. Thank you.
Yes, unfortunately, we do have rather a mess in the mess hall where about a few minutes ago your doppelganger just basically decided to explode into a shower of pollen. Unfortunately, it's left the mess hall a bit of a mess. Pollen and grass everywhere. So that's, however, the botanists are going absolutely loving it. Anyway, we've just had received a rather urgent call from Ambassador Kital. She's asked to meet us quite urgently. She's apparently found something and needs our help. So I'm going to have to cut you away let's get back to the damn ship. And Davin, clean yourself up.
Yes, sir.
About half an hour later, back on the ship in the debriefing room. Sorry. Ambassador Cattell, first and second, are awaiting Davin, who still hasn't finished getting himself decontaminated. But enters the waiting room, the debriefing room. So, come in, Davin.
Sir?
Right. Now, Ambassador, everyone's here. Perhaps you would like to repeat what you told me in your private message. Ambassador Cattell's looking very, not nervous, but very concerned, slightly worried. As you know, we've been having trouble with the Bendrazi. They have been capturing systems, destroying our starships, taking colonies, basically being a thorn in our side. Something that's not really been made public is they have been taking a few of our systems as well, especially along the edge of their space. Recently, they have taken system probably 20 systems away from the wormhole. And normally the system to us is nothing of any strategic significance. It was just a system claimed by the Dominion. But they've been sending scouts dangerously close to some of our more strategic worlds. So we've been taking this threat a little bit more, how can I put it? So I completely forgot what the word would be. Seriously, thank you. Sorry, my mind went completely blank then. We've been taking this threat a little bit more seriously. So we've been going through our systems, making sure that there's nothing Dominion technology related. In this one particular system, we have found something that we need your help with. We are not entirely sure what this... Well, that's a lie. We suspect we know what this is, but we need confirmation. Permission to beam the object or the sample aboard, Captain. Captain Prua gives a nod. Cattell then turns to first, who then taps on his wrist, and a shimmer appears on the briefing table. A metal plate, probably about a metre squared, appears. It's damaged, it's very obviously old, with a white, silvery sheen to it. That is a sample from something that we found on the outskirts of this particular system. If this is what we suspect it is, this is something that the Federation and Starfleet very much need to know about. Before I go any further, and she looks to Tolek. So, I am assuming you have your tricorder device with you?
Of course.
Would you please scan the metal plates and tell me what you find? I don't wish to contaminate any findings you may have.
Right, one moment.
You notice straight away there is something very distinctive and recognisable about this metal plate. Every race has, shall we say, certain hallmarks on their technology, on their metallurgy, on items that belong to them, and without sophisticated manipulation, you can normally tell if something belongs to, say, Klingon or Dominion or in this case, Federation.
Fascinating. This seems to belong to a Federation vessel.
Kitao just nods. It's like, could you also check the chronological age on that, please?
I will do so immediately.
Again, another reason science roll.
Yep.
You notice that this sample, although degraded, is very, very old. Approximately, if you had to say, around 300,000 years old.
This appears to be 300,000 years old. May
I
I
hate
also,
this stuff.
may I also make an observation?
Yes.
If I recall correctly, the artifact on Cardassia that was recovered also had about the same age.
As you mentioned
according
that,
to the reports we received.
as you mentioned that, Kitao was like, I was not aware of that. And she sort of, for a brief moment, just narrows her eyes, looks to Captain Pro and just like, I'll cover that later, Ambassador. So like, I'm sure I'm thinking for everybody here, but can you check to see if that sample is from the Damocles?
I would attempt so.
Again, this is going to be a DC of 2 because the sample is
Right.
quite old.
I'd like to spend a momentum and maybe the ship can assist.
Oh yes, definitely. So who wants to roll for the ship one? Who wants to roll for?
Sure.
I'm going to say this is going to be a sensors and science one because you're using the ship's internal sensors.
Okay.
I mean, it's looking good so far.
Yeah, okay, well maybe I should roll it.
Yeah, but now he's rolling.
Go on, do it. What's the worst that could happen?
So it's difficult.
Difficult,
Complication range 2, yeah?
No, complication range 1.
One.
Yeah.
Just difficulty.
Yeah, because you're literally just scanning it just because it's an old sample.
Okay. I got us a success.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I forgot to delete that extra threat, so I'm going to leave that there for now.
Okay.
I forgot to delete that from last time, so I'll just leave that there.
Nice.
Although the sample is old, with the aid of the ship sensors, you are able to determine that this is not from the Damocles. In fact, you're able, using pretty much every bit of the Federation technology has ident markers at the, I should say, sub-visual level for ironically reasons such as this, to identify a ship, to sort of basically identify it. And you notice there's a few markers on it that indicate it belongs to a ship not called, I'm going to make sure I get this right, so excuse me a minute, the USS Meteoria.
I'm historic maybe heard of that ship for some reason. I mean, we get computer.
Yes, yeah.
Give us details. The USS Meteoria.
No ship on record.
Fascinating. Chilek gives an eye, looks over the captain in silence, indicating that maybe it's something classified.
Does the part of the ship that we have here look like it's constructible with the technology level we have in our current time, or a past time?
It looks like you're going to have to make a roll to determine that.
Roll for us then, Tom.
But this could be. I'll allow you to say this can be assisted by the ship as well, to sort of like
Okay.
represent.
I'm thinking it's probably a ship from the future but end up in the past, yeah, but we'll see.
Well, I got 2.
Okay.
Is that sufficient, or?
That's fine. It's although this is a ship that looks like it could have come from this timeline, there are definite indicators that it's using, should we say, construction techniques that haven't been invented yet.
Yeah, frequent time travel.
Yes, this appears to be from the future, but then also from the distant past.
Yes, we suspected that it was old, based
Yeah, that leaves.
sorry, based on how we found part of the ship.
How
At
did
least
you
only
find
two
it?
options.
She taps on something and a little display appears, holographic projection. You see what can best be described as an nacelle, encased in ice. And you can again you can see that there's a tiny little hole where obviously a drill or something has gone through to thing, but like we think we've also found the rest of the ship.
Might be worth investigating further.
Yes, it's the captain's just looking over it going with the same sort of expression. Oh god, this bloody time travel. He's doing the, I swear I'd never get involved in this stuff.
Should we be risking interfering with a ship potentially from the future,
Normally,
given the temporal prime directive?
Should we risk it falling into the hands of the Bendrazi or some other cultures?
yes, even
Valid point.
If
Even
the
if-
wreck were discovered and dismantled by another species, there might be the risk of them gaining technology that is far advanced.
And I don't. Apparently, certain agents haven't appeared yet, so we are good to go at the moment.
Starfleet's going. I hate decisions like this. You see the captain just going, right. At the very least, we need to go there and destroy this ship. We cannot risk it being captured by the Bendrazi or other. And no disrespect to the Dominion. And he turns to the Qatar and says, we can't even afford to let you get your hands on this. To which Qatar was like, we completely agree. Although the temptation is quite high. We have the coordinates of the system. Would you like them? The captain's like, yes, we very much would. Okay, folks. We're going back through the wormhole. We're going to skip forward about a day.
Right.
What in the meantime? What are you lot doing?
Well,
That's an idea.
yeah,
Or
well,
Tolek.
Tolek would try to reverse engineer the fragment as far as possible to gain any insight into technology.
Okay, so this is going to be another reason and science roll, but this time it's going to be a free, because you're really sort of investigating,
Oh, yeah.
probing, and things like
Yes,
that.
I would
We
like
have
to spend,
enough momentum.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
I would like to spend 2. This might be useful for the future.
Yeah. Okay,
Alright.
go for it. Ooh.
Ooh,
Indeed.
oh
Ah,
good.
okay.
Where the ship can still...
Yes, the ship can still assist.
Somebody...
You got at least one success, so that's fine. So the ship can still assist.
I roll.
Okay.
Alright. Oh,
Sensors and science?
Yep, sensors and science.
Also... Hold on.
Ooh, no.
Or go ahead, but I'll just have to check a thing I have.
Alright.
What did the ship get?
One success.
Okay, let me just check something here.
If it's technical expertise, you can
Yes.
re-roll any d20 from the check, which could be the
Oh.
ship's die or yours.
Oh, so I could re-roll that.
Complication. Yes, you,
Complication, yes, because the DC we have.
yes, you can.
Right. All right. I will do that.
Mm.
That should be a successful.
Better.
try.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine.
Excellent.
Although the technology is, I'll say the technology, the piece of metal, is slightly more advanced, it's still at its heart Federation. And from what you're able to determine based on, shall we say, the way the metallurgy has aged, theorising on how future developments could occur, stuff like that, you theorise that this piece of metal came from a ship that existed anywhere from 50 to 100 years in the future,
Right.
present timeline. But you can't really narrow
So-
it down that many more than that.
Yeah, but no new materials used, or any new form of fabrication. He's just trying to figure out anything that might come in. might be useful.
Nothing that will give you any clues. I mean, it's obvious there's slightly different techniques that have been used, that there's a couple of minor elements that, whilst you recognise them, they wouldn't be in the Damocles and things like that. Just little tweaks to, should we say, the recipe of a starship
Alright.
hull. That's probably the best way to describe it.
Right, he would definitely document the hell out of that.
Okay. So, you two, what are you up to in the meantime?
I think it's realistic that Davrin probably is recuperating / seeing the ship's psychiatrist, to be honest.
So, what happened to you in the plant?
Yeah. He doesn't know what happened, but he's not gonna be necessarily a particularly sound friend of mine. It's also not his first meeting with a truly alien being, so
That is
he
very
may be
true.
he may be having some flashbacks, recollections of the past, torturous events.
I will say the ship's psychiatrist is actually a hologram.
No, he doesn't want to see a hologram then. He'll just it'll bottle it down until it explodes.
All right, fair enough. It's like,
But he probably, to be honest, he probably doesn't have a project or anything. He's probably just, I don't know, enjoying not being asleep in the plant.
yeah,
But
it's,
he'll do whatever duties he's assigned to, and that's it.
yeah. You won't. You were given basically, I suppose you call it brief medical leave. No strenuous duties. So it's like just in case.
Yeah,
But nothing.
he'll take advantage of it.
Don't blame you, Tira.
Tira is unusually high, knee deep in work, taking extra working hours wherever she can.
Okay.
Always the first two volunteers for like extra or doing the night shift, that kind of things.
Gotcha.
Sort of brown nose it.
No, I think I know why this is happening.
I think you're thinking it's right, Chris.
Yeah. So yeah, it's there's been a few comments about what happened down on the planet. Nothing serious, more case of, what they call it, the scuttlebutt on the ship is believe is the term, the gossip. But it's a small ship, so rumours get around, and although nobody really says anything to your face, there occasionally people will go quiet when you will come into the room. But nothing major. It's not a case of like, oh look, there's two. It's more like, so anyway, and they will continue with their conversation. And let's just say it takes about a day to get to the system, and this is pretty much on, as I said, on the edge of Dominion space. You find out that the current Bendrazi border, for want of a better term, is only about 2 systems away from here. Approximately about 20, 30 light years, give or take. So it's reasonably close. Not mega close, but enough that it's like, this is why the Dominion have started to get a bit concerned. and you drop out of warp at the edge of this system. Planets, probably about nine planets. Nice mixture of gas giants, terrestrial planets, a couple of rogue asteroids, and a what do you call it? Is it an Oort cloud that's like filled with all the ice and comets and stuff like that? Is that the term for it? Ice fields, ice clouds.
I'm blanking.
Right.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're describing.
Yeah, it's like a giant ice thing that goes pretty much around a part of the solar system.
Ecclesia?
Could be. I'm going to call it the Oort cloud for now. On the edge of it, your scanners immediately pick up a nacelle encrusted in ice. Now this nacelle is quite big for a starship. It's bigger than the Damocles. Davin, you have a knowledge about starships and stuff like that, don't you?
I do indeed, yes.
Right, could you make then a... I'm going to say...
Well, I mean, it's in my backstory.
Yeah.
I don't specifically...
No, I mean, it's more like an interest sort of thing. Like a...
Yeah.
That's basically one of the reasons why it's... okay, I'm going to say engineering insight on this one. It's going to be a DC of 1.
Okay.
Normally it would be a 2, but because of your like hobby of starships, then it will make it easier for you to identify the class of ship this has come from. Okay. Now, as you're looking at it, you notice that if current design trends continue, and the way that
Did someone move the momentum for me, by the way?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't moved on.
Okay, cool. Great.
Basically, as a rule, I don't touch momentum, just to be on the safe side.
No, I just saw I was going to do it myself, but then I saw we had 5, and I didn't know whether that was already there or somebody had done it.
Okay.
I just wanted to check.
You also, in a way, drawing on your symbiote memories, you hazard a guess that this has come from a ship that's roughly the size of a sovereign.
Right.
So it's probably about, so sovereign's about 750 meters. But you also notice something curious about the nacelle. This is not a paired nacelle. This is a quad nacelle. This is basically a 1 of 4.
Right.
So whatever ship this has come from had 4 nacelles. Because the way they're paired, it's pretty obvious sometimes. You know, if you look at the Damocles nacelles compared to, say, an Intrepid, for example, they are obviously different in a way that shows. It's pretty obvious once you've seen them a few times what their differences are.
Okay. So whatever this ship was from was roughly the size of a sovereign and had 4 nacelles.
Mm.
That's probably a powerful vessel, to say the least.
Now, obviously, on the view screen, you can see the nacelle just basically floating free, still encrusted in ice. But you can see where it's been broken off, as if something's hit it and it's just snapped and just drifted off. And the path it's taken, you think it probably would have exited the system in probably a couple of years. It would have slowly made its way out of the star system into deep space.
Right.
Tira, can you actually make a sensor roll for me, please?
From the Damocles?
From both. I mean, from yourself, from yourself, sorry, and from Damocles. Somebody else can roll Damocles, sorry. DC at 1.
I don't have a sensor skill. That's why I was asking.
Oh right, no, it's more to do with something coming up on your console.
So what do I have to roll? Okay.
It'll be science probably, right?
Yeah.
If that's the equivalent.
I'm going to say no. Actually, I'm going to say. This is going to be different. Actually, I'm going to say security and control for this one for you,
Thank you.
because it's to know. It's really to sort of notice something. Out of probably the 4th planet in the system, you notice there's a very, very faint energy reading.
Captain,
Yes, what is it, Tara?
I think we are not alone in the system.
Red alert.
Whoop.
Everything, yeah, alarms go off. Red alert, sirens echo throughout the ship. Everyone's on high alert as red alert dictates.
Sensors, can I get a pin near the magnetic field of the 4th planet?
Yes, you can. So, what actually are you scanning? Sorry.
I want to identify the energy source. If it's what kind. I'm suspecting a ship, but I want to know what kind of ship.
Okay. So this will probably be for you. I'm going to say. I'm going to say security and insight for this one.
Can the ship help?
Yes, definitely.
Science and sensors?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would roll that if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you
Please roll high. Thank you.
determine.
Did I?
Yeah.
Whee! Oh, yeah.
You determine that it's this faint energy signature is something on the planet.
Are we too far to get a closer read, or?
Oh, you can get there very, very quickly. So,
Can we determine what kind of? Like you said before, with the metallurgy, I think the energy signatures have certain trademarks too, like Cromwell, Klingon, Starfleet.
Or first of all, is it natural or artificial? Let's start there.
at this distance, you can't tell, but it's going to be relatively easy to get within range. Can I cancel red alert now? The captain's like just looking around at you, or like, what's going on? Talk to me, people.
It comes from the planet, and it shouldn't be there, in my opinion.
So, okay.
It's
Taps. So he puts his finger up, so taps, and red alert cancels. Right. Helm, let's take us closer to that planet. And in the meantime, Tira, can you keep scanning to make sure there's nothing going to surprise us, please?
Keep scanning and scanning.
Slowly make your way to the 4th planet in the system.
Landforms. You tiny little landforms. Where are you?
You're now.
Everyone in the bridge is just staring at Tira.
Yeah, it's pretty much just going.
What?
So, what is wrong with you? As you get into orbit, you notice on the far edge of your scanner there is something close to the star.
And we want to know what the something is.
Yes.
Yes. So, you want to try and scan it?
Wait, is that something in addition to the thing on the 4th planet?
Oh yes, this is something in addition. It's like this is more like as you've come into the planet, right on the edge of your scanning range, something's just gone ping.
So,
Okay,
get it first.
Okay.
Okay. I'll do the ship.
So what are you scanning for? Are you scanning for energy signatures to determine the...
Should I control security again?
No, don't worry about that one. No.
Yeah?
What's the role for Tira?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I was thinking of something else.
Confused.
I'm just really, really shattered today. Okay, again, I'm going to say security and control for this one. So just looking at my notes. You definitely noticed.
I did the roll for the ship before, so
So 4 successes.
yeah, 4 total.
You definitely see a ship in the distance. This ship is, as Davrin guessed, approximately the size of a sovereign. It's covered in ice, so much so it almost looks like a comet. But you can clearly see it's missing a nacelle.
Is that the energy signature near the sun or on the planet?
The energy signature is on the planet. The ship is near the star. There's
Okay.
two things basically.
Yeah, that's why I was asking which one is the one. Which
Yeah. Sorry, that was me getting confused. I was thinking of one thing and you was talking about something else. That's my bad. Sorry about that.
So we found the ship. Now what's on the 4th planet? Also,
Yeah, let's get a closer look at that.
Right, stand orbit takes. I'm not even going to get you to roll for that one because it's so easy. There's nothing odd about this planet. There's no like ion storms. There's no. Although it does have a nice little ring system going around it. It's basically an M-class planet with a ring.
I'd light it and put a ring on it.
Pretty much. But it looks
Or
like
if you liked it.
it's like there's nothing say really special about the planet. It's very Earth-like, maybe a tad warmer, but not to the point where it's unpleasantly warm. Just it would be almost tropical if you had to put a term to it. It's actually pleasant.
Great, so let's have some leave after we're done here.
I'm sure the plant life is fascinating.
Yeah, I can just imagine Davrin going, yeah, thank you, Tolik.
That room can only ever go to urban environments.
Deserts.
Yeah. As well as cacti in desert.
well, I know an interesting desert planet known Arrakis. You would love it.
Yeah, just make sure you walk without with them. You don't want to trap the worm. Now that you're closer to the planet, you're not going to roll for this. You are definitely picking up a artificial energy source coming from probably somewhere near to the equator. And there's no mistake in it. This is Federation.
Wow, no shortage of stuff to look at around here.
This is also
So
very old.
if we can identify it as Federation energy source, presumably we can perhaps figure out what it's for.
It's probably the descendants of the crew member, because of that floating ship that stranded here a long time ago.
And they'll either all be primitives or they'll be highly evolved monsters, yes.
So Morlocks or
They are now.
Shall I make a deep scan for life?
By all means.
Because that is kind of my thing.
Yes. It's like, I got this. We're going to scan for some life forms first.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is going to be, again, science and insight for this one.
Okay.
And
I'd like
assistance.
to spend a momentum.
Mhm.
And the ship could assist, please.
By all means.
Ross?
You want to roll for this one?
Well, I mean, Tolik does have a reroll, for sure.
I mean, and that is 3, so...
It's
You
like
know.
science sensors.
Okay.
Yep.
Boom.
No complication. I'm proud
I
of
know.
you.
Oh, so well done.
It's not like I decide to have them.
But you're our high roller.
Now, Tonic spends.
Funny thing is, I always am.
Well, the thing is,
This game is
high
like
high
first.
rolls in this are bad. Do you
Yeah,
remember?
true. So actually, I am lucky in my way.
Tonic, you spend a good half an hour scanning the planet. You pick up probably the highest life forms that you can find. It's probably some form of primate, if that.
Okay.
You can't find anything above that. No human, no Vulcan, no Tellarite, none from the Dominion registry. There's nothing. Nothing of what you would classify as a higher life form.
Could this be automated address beacon that got pulled into orbit?
It's
Or is it just an energy source?
Would we not be picking that up, though?
That's true.
yeah. It's there's no emergency beacon. It's just an energy source. It doesn't seem to be fluctuating. It actually seems to be.
Sorry, guys.
Apparently, someone in the Space World Cup has just scored. I believe Andoria has just got a point against Earth in the Galactic World Cup. Yeah, I was going to say that message pops up on Tira's thing.
What's that squash-like sport that they play in the? Let's have a look up at that.
Yes, it's
what a grind, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys. I feel like we should deal with this power source first, because if anything is going to draw more attention here, it's probably
Can
that.
we take a quick look at the floating ship to make sure that it's truly powerless and no one is on board?
How big is that power source? Well,
It looks like it's the sort of power source that could power a city quite easily. That's what it looks like. In fact, it's
okay.
yeah. I mean, this you only really sort of find one major population centre. Now, it's quite well built, quite high up, but it's only really sort of one, and that is like little minor places around it. It's only one place that you would call populated, and this power source is basically powering that city.
Okay. So it's not as if we could beam it on board.
No,
That's what I wanted to know.
that's way too big for that.
Yeah. Okay. I think then we should check out the ship first. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the ship is just inside the orbit of the inner planet. As you approach the Meteora, you can see that it's almost like a comet in terms of how encrusted the ship is with ice. There's a trail of the debris, the ice, the dust coming off of it, but you can still see that there's unmistakably a starship in the middle of it, just missing a nacelle. Now, this ship is big. It's probably about twice the size of the Damocles. So, including the ice that's around it, you're probably looking at close to 800 metres, maybe even 900 in places. It's a big ship. As you're, I don't call it words, doing the flyby, you can see the ship's registration. NX 90378, USS Meteora.
So it was an experimental ship.
Like so many of them, they did not go well.
Yeah. Could it be that we have our first temporal ship stranded here?
Well, let's get on it and have a look.
Yeah, that's like it's a. What are you doing? It's you're pretty much your pot. Things I couldn't find an image I wanted for the Meteoria, so unfortunately, and the Sovereign just didn't quite work for it. So unfortunately, you just have to imagine there's another ship in front of the Damocles on the map at the moment. So. But you're basically sort of like parked, you know, within range of it, kind of thing, keeping yourself at a distance because the ship is slowly
Can we
moving.
beam safely over there? I mean, practically we are beaming inside of a meteor.
We probably need EVA.
Yeah.
That is a given.
Quick scan. Yeah, there's pockets of, shall we say, places you can beam in. Doesn't appear to be any shields. You can't detect any sort of like scattering fields or any other anti teleportation systems acting. In fact, the ship is, for all intents and purposes, dead.
And it has no power.
Not that you can detect.
Okay. Can we detect the lithium?
You can certainly give that a go. I'm seriously give that a try. Almost.
Okay.
But yes, by all means. It's this is the point where you decide what you want to do before you go over.
Right. Well, I would scan for that.
Okay.
Science and insight, or
Science is pretty much all these rolls for scanning would normally be science and insight, assisted by the ships and the ship sensors.
well, should do it. I think we're good on momentum, so
Yeah. Let's play it safe.
There is, as far as you can tell, no dilithium on board.
okay.
Now,
So
you can see where there was dilithium
mhm.
by the how do we call it, the antimatter residue? I think what's that? What it is? But there's no active dilithium left on board.
Okay, so all any energy on the ship would be the one we bring with us.
Yes,
Also,
the ship is basically dead.
Dead.
can we just maybe beam out to do it quickly? The computer core thingy, where all the logs are saved on. Just spares time.
That's an interesting one because the cores are quite
down.
big. The core itself is, I mean, even on the Damocles, they are pretty big. They're like can go from like one part of the ship to the bottom.
Yeah, my thinking is that we just need to access the ship logs to see what happened, and for that we need to power either some systems of the Meteoria, or we get them over here.
Well, as much as Davrin would actually love to get a close look at the ship, we don't actually have to find out what happened. Our main objective is to destroy the ship. Plus, second point, we may find out what happened by going down onto the planet. Because if there's a Federation power source down there, clearly some crew members did get planetside. They probably took some logs with them, or have kept logs since they got there.
So,
Sure.
Captain, as awaiting your orders.
Okay.
Should we shoot or should we investigate? Practically.
This is frankly unprecedented. I am open to suggestions. And he looks at basically each of the crew members on the bridge.
I suggest we go planetside, Captain. There's a very good chance that there will be information there.
It's just like, okay, I can see where you're coming from. That one.
I think we have a unique tactical opportunity here to salvage a ship from the future that might give us an edge in possible future problems, especially against the brewing threat of the Bandrazi.
As much as I would like to agree with you, Tira, unfortunately the Temporal Prime Directive is quite clear.
Tira rolls innerly.
Take us to a safe distance. Arm Compton torpedoes.
Quantum torpedoes are sharp.
Enjoy.
Target the ship.
Tira's crying and dying on the inside as
Yeah.
she's forced to do this.
So, before you finish, so yeah, Tolek, officially what I'm about to say hasn't happened. Scan the living buggery out of that ship.
Yes.
Good shout, Captain.
Sorry, did I just say something? I just drifted off then for a second. Have you armed those torpedoes, Tira?
Strangely enough, there seem to be some problems with the content of the ship.
As you say that, he's very nice. In a move that a Vulcan would be proud of, his eyebrow goes right up. I admit there is a great deal of temptation to learn, to bring that ship back to the Federation. But as I said, the Temple Prime Directive is very clear.
Fortunately, we're all better than that, right, guys?
Of course, yes. There's a
How
across the bridge. It's like
what was the DC on that?
oh, just one. Sorry, and this is again, as a Savwise, it's always a one.
Oh, okay, then yeah.
Yeah, because all you're doing is you're just getting passive scans, sort of thing. You know, it's like
May I just speak freely for one sentence, Captain? For one question.
I'm going to regret this. Yes, go ahead.
Who says that it is not actually what happened in the fixed timeline that we found that ship that helped Starfleet?
You mean a predestination paradox?
Yes.
There's a couple of eyebrows again. It's like, oh, didn't know the captain knew that sort of term. Like, yes, I have brushed up on temporal mechanics. It gave me a freaking headache. But who's to say that us destroying the ship is not what's meant to happen?
Oh, this is why they call it the damn paradox. Oh, my head.
Yeah, again, it's just like
I just asked for one question. So.
there's a collective. You can almost imagine everyone on the ship going slightly cross-eyed trying to work this one out.
Still not seeing any agents, but
They may be on the. No, just fire the damn torpedoes.
and I fire them.
The torpedo spread arcs. Boom, 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 boom. 4 torpedoes. They're white light, almost invisible against the brightness of the star. There's delay for about 5 seconds, and then boom, 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 boom. The Meteoria is destroyed. Quite easily.
Yeah. Then we've got to do the nacelle, guys.
Yeah. You can see that any fragments that remain will quite easily just in the gravity well of the star and be destroyed probably, yeah, that's I guess in probably about a week, if that. There may be some minor fragments left over, but probably about 99% of the ship has been destroyed. There's
That
a
should be sufficient.
Tonic. Again, and you see the captain lean down and press something on his pen. Make sure nothing happens to that data.
Which data are you referring to, Captain?
Very good. And he just like, he gives a sort of wink to say,
Tira smiles at her like, with a look saying, yeah, sure. Logic, no emotion.
It's almost like a. You don't want to describe it, but it's. If you had to put an emotion to the way the bridge is at the moment, it's almost like seeing an old friend passing away. That sort of. Because even though you didn't really know the ship, it was still a Starfleet vessel that you had to destroy.
Davin definitely wasn't very happy about seeing that
Yeah.
vessel go.
Yeah. Even if you ignore the technology on it, it was still a Starfleet vessel that shouldn't be in this part of the quadrant.
Are we assuming we've also dealt with Incel for the
Yeah,
record?
I'm going to assume that's easy enough because you can just like tractor beam it and then pretty much fling it or destroy it, whatever. It's negligible. Back in orbit around the planet. You're pretty much in geostationary orbit now, above the energy source. So,
Right. So
the
we
captain sitting there. It's like, who wants to go?
I volunteer. So.
Why is he asking?
Yeah, I mean, come on, gut dude, you know this.
Just like, and you turn to him and go, I want to give the illusion of choice, okay?
Nobody else ever volunteers. They're happy that we're a bunch of freaking weirdos. Take all the risks.
And it's like, yes, that's why you get volunteered.
Basically, we have this is the bridge equivalent events lining us up and them all stepping backwards, isn't it? Really?
Pretty much. It's just like everyone else suddenly finds themselves very not busy, and it's like, well, you know what to do.
I get my face on.
I
So,
get my tricorder.
any of those non-sentient life forms you detected seem like really big, scary life forms?
There were the primate life forms. How big would I make them out to
And if you had to hazard a guess, they're probably around the size of chimps.
be? Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So,
So whatever crew did make it down there, they definitely did not survive in any form. Probably. I definitely probably.
Or then mutated into the ships. Coming back to your theory.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it can go either way, really, backwards or forwards. I think so. We'll see. Would now be a good time for a quick break?
Yes, I was going to suggest that. Basically, I was going to edit so you beam down and do it. Yeah. I need a quick toilet break myself. So yes, we're going to have a quick break and be back in a
Come on.
couple of minutes. I'm going to quickly read the what's going on in the chat.
Roll commercials.
Yes, it's pretty much. Imagine the commercials are here at the moment. So if you guys want to go on a break, I'm fine. I'm just going to sit here for a couple of minutes and deal with the peeps in chat. Stinky mucus. Just kill the gem of the dance, take the ship, start a new federation. It's Voyager. No, it's not Voyager. Episode of Voyager where the ship gets trapped in ice. No, it gets trapped in ice, but not in the same way that you think. Ah dear. You say about Data's Greatest Hits album. There was actually something I saw on YouTube earlier. In fact, I'll see if I can get the link because it was most amusing. It's Lennon Nimoy / Spock sings. Let's see if I can find the link. It's very, very amusing. Right, let's see. Here we go. So there we go. Andoria versus Earth. I'm going to say that Andoria is closer to Germany. Or someone paid 100 cents to get the NX prefix. Damn it, you've sussed it out. Yes, that's. So I'm going to take a little break myself. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Well, not even that. So, shall return. So you checked out the video then? Ooh, very warm tonight. Apparently it's going to hit 30 here next week at some point. So it's like, yeah, that's going to be great. I am going to be dead halfway through the week. So yeah, that's going so far. Be able to return. Yes. They've got a few ideas of things that are going to be happening from this point forwards. And welcome back. Yeah, it's just saying it's meant to hit 30 next week, temperature wise.
Right.
Yeah. I'm pretty much going to be moving my computer, I think, into the freezer. Or sitting in the fridge.
Yeah.
And today's stream is brought to you by my fridge.
It's horrendously hot this year.
Yeah, I mean, the heat is not so much of a problem. I think it's the...
I mean, by British standards.
Yeah, oh, definitely, yeah. It's... Yeah, by Brit... I mean, I sort of had, not much argument, but a discussion with someone before that in Britain, we tend to have our houses made to keep heat in.
Yeah.
So it's like the bricks are, those, you go like the, what do you call it? We have like a layer of bricks, then you have like another like insulation, then you have like another layer of bricks, and that's...
Well, Ace of Thorns, you've got to bear in mind that the vast majority of the time it's freaking freezing.
Oh no! It's about a vid. No, that's in relation. That's in relation to a video that I just posted.
Oh, I see.
It's of Leonard Nimoy singing as Spock.
Okay.
And it's well, it's if you're familiar with the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins, it's on a par with that.
Oh yeah.
It's got that sort of 70s I want what drugs you're on vibe to it. It's actually good in that sort of weird but funky kind of way, but at the same time it's like, nah, like, no. Yeah, it's a weird thing with the UK housing. It's like, I don't know if you've seen a few people in America, and it's when I went over there I noticed it's just like, wait, why is it like hotter over here yet I'm cooler? Why is that? And then
realised the houses are that, like, everything about the houses is like really fragile and hollow. That's why they all blow away.
But to be fair, it also makes it easier to rebuild them.
True.
And sorry for my distraction.
That's perfectly fine. As I say, it's a Andoria versus Earth in the
Andoria won and has still chances to get into the final rounds.
I know that somebody did loads of, because it's a joke pennants for the baseball thing for Deep Space Nine. Because obviously, in Deep Space Nine they brought back baseball, so somebody did loads of like the different pennants for every team that was around, like the Vulcans, the Andorians, the Ferengi, and stuff like that. It's quite amusing.
So let's find our Morlocks.
Yeah, they'll all just be in underground shielded areas, won't they?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to change something in the storyline. How do you spell more? More. No. I won't change it.
Let's retell the Omega Man.
Oh, bloody hell, that's an old school reference.
What can I say? I know more old school references than I look like I should. I'm not that young anymore, to be fair. But.
Right.
Aren't you the youngest from us?
Yeah, I suppose. No, he's a trill, remember? Okay, young body, old mind.
Exactly.
Right. Trying to think what else. Right, okay. So, back from commercials. We cut to the City Plaza. Four figures materialise. What I'm referring to as the B team. and Random Security Officer number 37.
It doesn't do to give them names.
No,
it was nice knowing him.
it's you don't give the security officer names. You know that.
Although I am alarmed at the high number you gave him. That suggests we've been through an awful lot.
It's not. They're on the rotation.
Screen.
They're on the rotation. So, you're in the middle of the city plaza. There's nothing else around really. There's buildings. It's definitely has a Federation look to it. I mean, some of the buildings are a bit sort of damaged and a bit broken, but yeah, you know, if somebody just showed you a picture of this place, it would look like any other abandoned Federation colony that you may have seen.
How old are the buildings?
Well, you got tricorders.
Yeah, we could just.
Well,
get-
we all do have tripoders, but we always let Tolek do it. So Tolek,
Yes.
Right.
So, time to science.
Is it inside or reason?
I'm going to say for this one. So look, my references.
Let's
I'm
see.
going to say.
I suspect me and Tira probably are phases out.
I'm going to say reason for this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
phasers
you.
are out because standard protocol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes.
I would spend a momentum because we have plenty.
Okay.
Ooh!
Ah,
I
Right.
think I get that back.
So, you basically can ask me. Let's see, that's one. That's. You can basically ask me 4 questions about these buildings.
Okay, so first, how old do they appear to be?
Although you can't get an exact reading, you believe they are around 250,000 years old.
Okay.
Around that.
Yeah.
Give or take 10,000 years either way.
that's fairly
do I
large margin for error.
Yeah, it's just because it's just the
Like-
nature of them.
detect any radiation that would have been detrimental to life forms?
No. In fact, it's still reasonably pleasant. Now, there's a
Okay.
very, very, very sort of slight higher oxygen content in the atmosphere, but again, nothing to really worry about.
Well, no, oxygen isn't really. Okay, we have that. Are there any active computer systems?
There is very, very faintly a computer network. You believe from the power levels it's in the equivalent of standby mode.
Okay. One more. Well, should ask. Do I detect any higher life forms?
None.
Okay.
Again, you're still detecting the baser animals, a few chimp-like creatures, but nothing.
There- are the chimp-like creatures in the city, or just?
No, just like because the city's not that big. It's
Okay.
just it's very well developed, and you know it's straight away you can tell that those chimps do not have any, any alpha quadrant DNA in them. Cause I know where you're going with this one. No, they're pure delta quadrant.
Yeah, actually, they devolved into lizards instead.
They didn't hit warp 10.
Surprise!
They didn't hit warp 10.
These buildings, do they? I mean, obviously they've lasted a long time. But say it's a colony, but do they look more like sort of prefab units?
They actually look like legitimate buildings. They don't look prefab. They actually look like they've been constructed using what for you would be modern building techniques. They're just old.
Yeah. So they either had this many materials, Starfleet materials with them, or they were still able to fabricate them at the time that they made this city. Would be my take from that.
Yeah. It's, I mean, your tricord is basically you pick up that they've obviously used local materials. I mean, the city itself is probably, I'll say city, so you're probably looking at about, in total, probably about 3 miles across.
It's pretty big now.
Yeah, it's big, but as you get to the further edges, it becomes obviously less developed and things like that. But it is roughly 3 miles across. It's not like a circular. It's like there's obviously some bits going to be further, some bits will be more further in, but yeah, it's about 3 miles or so.
Are the buildings? Does everything look like the city, or the buildings were left in a hurry, or just left?
Have we discovered any corpses?
Oh, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You can't.
They just lay down and did nothing.
I know where you're going with this one, and no, you cannot find any corpses. You don't see any bodies whatsoever.
Right. Well, let's find. I propose to find a computer terminal to possibly discover any kind of log.
Oh, there's one within 100 meters. There's actually computer terminals scattered pretty much. Now you know what you're looking for. You can pretty much see them in almost every building.
Well, Telep will head for the nearest one.
Okay, it's about 100 meters away. It's
At
like,
the very least, logs from that might indicate when they stop using them.
Yes.
And then we can go to
And when
central
maybe where
building for more information.
where they went, if they were saved or just moved to another place on the planet,
Or enslaved, rather than saved.
or they developed into the Pendrazi.
they do. No.
Maybe they evolved into a Dominion species. It's been long enough.
Maybe they are the beginning of the changeling.
Could be. Anyway, let's just look at this computer.
Stop giving me ideas. I've only got so much paper to write that down. Right.
So, computer terminal.
Okay. You go into nearest building. I'm assuming you're going to be keeping an eye out for anything that may catch your eye along the way. So,
Of
Tira,
course.
can you very quickly roll a... I don't know the security and... what's it called? Insight roll, please.
Okay.
Yeah, both Tira and Davin, can you both make those rolls, please?
Yep.
Difficulty?
Well, if he doesn't mention, it's usually one. right?
Okay.
Yeah,
And I remind you of my constantly watching.
that's fine. I'm allowing for that. Okay. Right. As you step, Tira, into one of the buildings, you hear something go clunk.
Oh my god, we're in a dungeon. There's now a ball rolling towards us.
No, it's just literally as if something has dropped. As you look up, you do see a turret.
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense than the giant sphere of doom.
Yeah, it's basically a sort of just gone, ka-chunk, and it's just sitting there.
I'm not moving. I'm ever so slightly moving my lips because I know that at least Vulcans are good at hearing. Tolek, I hope you'll disable the security of the buildings.
I can certainly try.
Okay.
How are you for security, Tyler?
I know how to spell it.
Unfortunately, the best person for it is now currently being targeted by a turret.
I'm probably second best. Although I do roll badly usually.
You can see that
Right.
there's like pretty
I
much.
can
Yeah.
pull you through if you describe what you are seeing.
So,
Okay.
so basically, I will allow you to assist because of that.
Okay.
Okay.
But this is going to be a DC of 2. Now, there's standard Federation room. There's control panels. There's access panels. There's it's
But I'm actually not that bad in security.
Well,
Yeah.
have you got security 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So,
You do it then, I guess.
control and security.
yes. And this is going to be a DC.
Hacking?
This is going to be a DC of 3.
Right.
And are we hacking?
Do we have to?
I'm trying to think. I suppose in a way, yes, you are.
Okay, then I can use my shortcut.
Right.
Yeah, I suppose yeah, because you're trying to basically tell the turret, no, we are friend.
Yeah,
And
but I
I'm
will use the
running
momentum. Same.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
I
that
only
was
use
actually
momentum
that
all the
was
time.
that actually used up my my threat to bring in that turret. I'm just going to delete that. One moment, I'll look at that in a second.
Hey.
I'm just going to leave that one there. Oh, very nice.
Nice.
The turret deactivates.
That should have taken care of the issue.
Thank you.
So,
So,
try not to step on any more trap, security chief.
try don't get too close to any plants. no, no official title yet.
So I'm just picturing this as like the banter going on between the
you
two.
avoid, I don't know, like the sense of humour or something.
I think Tonic's got a sense of humour, but he's more sort of just going, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The point is that we all have something that we need to avoid.
Yes. Now,
Okay.
so Tonic, with your
Yes.
rather nice role and everything else as well, it's as far as you're aware, that was the only security system that was active, and
Okay.
it seems like it has its own, I suppose you could say, power system, not connected to the rest. But that appears to be pretty much depleted by now.
Right.
You know what the logic dictates if you're integrating such security measures of self-firing turrets?
So
You have to defend yourself from something.
Yeah, they had a reason for that.
Yeah. You
Well-
don't put up turrets on a peaceful planet where are no problems.
Well,
Of course,
maybe.
they could have been causing their own problems.
Well,
we know.
Lieutenant Tira, maybe you would like to take a look at the logs to find
Yeah.
out.
okay.
So, keep taking a look at the logs.
Right. The system itself is still in standby mode.
Nice screensaver.
Yeah, it's just unit. Actually, what's a? This is going to be. I'm going to say for you two a command and insight roll for this one. Actually, Davin, you can make this roll as well.
Alright, is this to see if we can get the paperclip to do what we want?
It's more to recognise something about the screensaver. The
Command and insight.
screensaver.
Cool. Competition.
Yeah, just okay. You both notice it straight away that this is not the standard Federation screensaver.
Right.
Not the little Federation symbol?
No, it has the chevron, but in the past it has a certain number of stars on it. In fact, I believe that is the one that's very similar to what is. Where's it gone? Yeah, if you look on the stream, you notice there's a.
Yeah, bottom right.
Yeah, it has more stars on it.
Right. Okay, so I mean we already know it's in the future, so it's from a time when there's a bigger Federation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So, logs.
Okay. You got to turn the system on first.
Oh.
So it's like, I'm into it going, it's not working! It's not working!
We check we see if it's unplugged.
Why computer not work?
Alright, well, I mean,
Hello, computer.
this is what? Is this engineering or science?
This was going to be engineering.
Yeah, alright.
This will be engineering.
Off you go, Ventira.
This will be a DC of 3.
I mean, either one of us can help you.
Yeah.
Can more than one person help in this?
Engineering.
Generally, no. Generally, only one person can assist. There is something for like a team effort, but it's kind of like an extended task, and it's more of a palaver. So.
In this case, Tolek will put away the tricorder, take out his phaser, and keep watch on the, towards the door.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll help then.
Okay, control and engineering or inside and engineering?
I'm going to say control for this one because you're trying to sort of basically power it back up.
And
So-
the DC
so-
of 3.
Yes.
Is the assist also against the same DC?
Yeah.
Is that how that works?
I'm going to say yes on this one because it's a little bit harder.
I'm taking 2 momentum.
I'm going to want some too, I think.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's an official rule, but I'm saying that it is now. Because you are trying to help, but it's like, oh, I don't recognise that circuit. What's going on over there? How do you plug that in?
I mean, otherwise, it's a really good roll, though.
Yeah,
Right.
I think
and we
got
get our momentum back.
Let's see who
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Let's see who this affects.
Oh,
Tira.
dear.
Is it defensive?
And will not be swallowed by a plant.
No, you're not going to be this one. However, that you do receive a rather nasty electric shock
Ouch!
to the point where you lose. Let's go with 5 health.
Ooh.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I have enough.
Good job we brought a doctor.
Well, you brought a field medic.
But
I
yeah, basically, as you're putting it in, you accidentally touched what is the equivalent of the live wire. Just very briefly brushed your hand against it, and yeah, you just got a very bad electric shock shooting up your. Pick an arm. What's your primary arm that you use?
Right.
Up your right arm. Your arm's tingling, like, and you can see you've got burn marks now on your hands. And have you seen that image of where somebody's been struck by lightning and you have that pattern going up their body? That's what you've got on your arm.
Nothing a thermal generator can't fix.
No, but it still friggin' hurts.
Yep.
What colour's an Andorian burn?
I'm going to say sort of like a dark purple.
Yeah.
I suppose, yeah, sort of darkish purplish. Because I believe Andorians still have the same colour blood, don't they?
That is. Give me 1 second.
let's color up and find out.
It's like
here we
intermission.
go.
It's like intermission.
Oh, Ron Tonic,
Well, I was thinking the way the crew have been treating Tira, this is how you get evil Tira, right? So perhaps this is how you get evil Tolek. This is where
Blue
it
blood.
begins.
It is blue blood.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it's basically just like a darker blue then.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Lieutenant Tira, do you require medical assistance?
Maybe something against pain?
Do I have something like that in the first aid kit?
You could probably have a basic analgesic, but that's
Do you have Evo?
no.
Well,
Right.
Well, I would
For the
just-
moment, until obviously your arm is healed, all the C tasks for you are now going to be +1.
Okay.
well, I think it's probably reasonable to say that while Tolek and Tira are figuring out her injury, Dabrin may as well have had a look, see if he can figure out the logs. So,
All right, it's easy enough. It's the
yeah.
the system is now powered up and is awaiting input.
All right. So the first piece of information I want from it, which I think I could probably figure out pretty quickly, is when the date of the last log, assuming they're even using start
Right.
dates.
Okay. This is going to be an interesting one. You do find what you believe to be the last log. It was dated to around, based on Earth time, around 250,000 years ago.
So that's approximately the age of the buildings then.
Around that sort of age, yeah.
Yeah. Although we were like 10,000 years either way. So
Yeah,
they could
exactly.
still have been on the planet
It's,
a while.
again, that's the nearest you can determine, because obviously they're basing, from what you can tell, they are basing their chronology on this star system, not Earth. So there's going to be a little bit of a difference between what would be considered Federation standard time and what they're using. So
But like some particularly science-minded individuals, like Tolek perhaps, if we paid attention to sort of the chronological, like the time of day and how long a day lasted, we could probably do a conversion, right?
oh yeah, easy enough. Yeah, that's negligible with
It's
that
just
one.
a bit more of a longer term.
Yeah, it's just more. It's again, you can't be exact with it, but it gives you a pretty decent time frame for around 250,000 years ago.
Okay, and
From what you can,
I think we're just in a random building, aren't we? But
from what you can tell, this log is half finished.
okay,
As
what,
if-
as in like, oh god, they're coming.
No, it's more like from what you can read of this log, and it's in Federation standard. You can. It's as if someone was just recording their day-to-day activities and just suddenly, for some reason, stopped.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, a mass extinction event will do that to you, I suppose.
But a mass extinction event should leave any kind of trace.
Well, I mean, 250,000 years is a long time for evidence to vanish.
So I've got to make a roll on something. This one.
I mean, I'm no expert on how long it takes a body to deteriorate, for example, but I'm sure they'd all be gone by now.
We should still have skeletons or remains of them
Right, okay.
around.
I'll trust you on that, because as I say, I don't know. But,
Yeah, there's no. As far as you can tell, there was no organic remains.
Right.
It's like they were just taken away.
Right, well, yeah.
Yeah, basically, it's as if 1 second they were there, the next
They were all beamed up
gone.
That
by the
would
great
be a
god Scotty.
That would be a possibility, yes.
Okay.
But if a rescue mission were attempted from their original timeline,
Exactly.
they would with high probability destroy the ship themselves, unless the temporal prime directive is no longer in effect.
and also like the settlement, any evidence.
Yes.
Also, the log wouldn't just end in the middle of the sentence. I think they would be gathering their stuff and go orderly and not just as it appears to be beamed out.
Okay. Let's read the most recent 5 or so logs and see if any give any kind of indication of any events occurring.
Okay. So the current log is essentially just a security log. So it's like visitor coming through. It's basically like the security guards work log, describing various people going through, his type of day, his family, standard stuff really. Except that the last sentence is literally cut off halfway through.
Right. We find a more important terminal used by a more important person.
Lieutenant, could you check the entry, please?
Which entry?
The first.
The first entry. Yes, of course.
Hey, you start scrolling back. And these entries go a long way back. A long.
Well, like
long.
generational.
Oh yes, we are talking. It's
Man, these guys need to look up the definition of an archive, right?
something you as you sort of think that, you realise that this terminal is actually drawing from an archive of some kind.
Right.
As you are going further and further back, there seems to be like,
So it's loading new stuff in.
yes, as you're scrolling back, it's like it's getting the next lot sort of preemptively, bump, bump, bump. You, after probably about half an hour, yeah, this is how long it takes to go all the way back. You find what you believe to be the first recorded log entry.
What does it say? What does it say?
Yes, at the moment it's taking time to load up. It's like very
It
slowly.
just says first
Yeah,
post.
that's basic. It's like first lull. There's like a couple of memes as well. But no, it's like the first entry is actually day 3. Now, some of the words are a bit, I'm going to say, lost, but there's definitely been some minor corruption. We finally got the power grid up and running. Macintosh believes that this power source will, if he's right, it could work for over 1 million years unaided. The guy's a friggin' genius. Day 4. We lost another crew member today. Our numbers are dwindling. We need to get a food source, and soon. There's been corruption. Back to the Meteoria to get supplies. We're going to also try to see if we can bring her back. But we need to have a mainframe that can maintain her neural patterns first.
I don't like the implication of that at all.
Day 5. We found out where we are. We should not be here. That's all it says. There's no other entries for about another week. Then you discover the captain has left to try to salvage the Meteoria and her AI. We need her back. This planet, if it's where we think it is, we could seriously interfere with history if the Dominion discovers us before. We have to. And then there's a corruption. It's nothing really of major interest, just general day-to-day activities of the fledgling colony, describing how they have built up from those shuttles, how the remainder of the crew that evacuated from the Meteoria were found, and how the captain has not returned. There's a few more entries. One labelled reclamation, another slingshot.
Let's have a look at that reclamation one first.
Okay. Again, it takes a little while to boot up. Project Reclamation pops up. It's acting captain James. Sorry, this is the captain. It's like puts his hand to his head. I am James Troy. I am from Betazoid. The stress of the crew is getting to me. Just put his hands in this. I haven't slept in probably a week. The captain has gone back to the Meteoria to try and retrieve our AI. If we can't, then the Temple Prime Directive must take precedence. Standard protocol is to destroy the Meteoria. We cannot afford to let anything of her fall into hands of anyone. Excuse me. The screen goes blank. Comes back a little bit later. Project Reclamation is to retrieve our AI, who we have nicknamed Abigail.
Oh no, they named it and you blew it up. Oh, I'm feeling really bad right now, guys.
Abigail was third generation apologies. Her design based off of, you can see him sort of speak to something like, her design was based off of Archie from the Damocles. I can't go on. And just stops.
Okay, let's have a vote here and now. Nobody tells Archie we accidentally killed his granddaughter. Right? But also, confirmation, he's not evil. That's good.
This is when telling him about his granddaughter makes him evil.
Right? Although he, I guess technically he could still be horribly flawed. That's why they needed a third generation. Let's not worry over much about it. So what was the other one? Project Slingshot?
Project Slingshot. Project Slingshot. It was essentially the construction of a warp-capable vessel to slingshot us back to our correct time frame. We have first of all, for anyone who's listening to this, we need to explain something. The Meteoria, well, let's just say her drive was not standard. It was, I suppose I best, finding this, you need to know about this, especially if you're going to rescue the ship or destroy it. About, which for us would be about 2390, something was discovered that could best be described as precursor technology. A seeding device. From that, technology was extrapolated, including a new drive system that frankly made Slipstream look like impulse drive. We were caught up in a temporal event Cardassians. A splinter group of Cardassians had infiltrated our ship. We believe they were after our drive system. How? Logins.
How convenient.
Oh, Davin, can you make a? I'm going to say a. This is going to be an interesting one because this is information.
Can we enter some search words into the logs, into the archive?
Yes, go ahead.
I would like to let this archives maybe on another terminal search for the Pendrazi.
I mean, I think if the terminals are connected to the central archive, it would not matter which one we access.
There might be ones with higher security clearance, I suppose.
The thing is, while he's working on one terminal, I can use another terminal.
That is true, but we are pretty much getting the command log, so I don't think
Yeah, I guess.
higher security.
What am I rolling here, Chris?
Have this to be a. I'm going to say. Engineering and reason for this one.
Engineering reason.
Yes. What's that? My back's playing a little bit as well. Might end this one a little bit early because my back is really starting to hurt right now.
There you go. 2.
So yeah, I think I will end this one a bit early today. So I'm going to try and sort of skip the plot forward a bit. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yes, you definitely notice there's a couple of references to Pendrazi. It's just in passing. Nothing untoward. You believe that from what you are picked up that this wasn't the ship's primary concern. There's no real logs of what happened before they landed. You believe from what you can pick up that that was one of the goals of Project Retrieval, was to get as much of their data off of the ship, including the AI, Abigail, as possible.
Right.
Sorry, it's just this. Yeah, sorry, a bit of I was trying not to wince.
I mean, if you want to just call it, and we'll carry on next week.
No, this is you're getting close to the end anyway. It's I'm just going to take some painkillers in a bit. You also notice there's an addendum to Project Slingshot. You believe they tried something, an experiment, something to integrate or recreate the drive that they had on the Meteoria, but on the ground. As in, for testing purposes, testing it on the ground to make sure that they could use it later. And now that you've seen a little bit more of the data, you believe that this drive system had, well, if you had to give a name to it, was a form of space folding. A way to almost instantaneously jump from one point in space to another. Now, you've all heard the stories of the USS Discovery's spore drive, but it is nothing like that. It doesn't have any relation to the mycelium network. It doesn't have, which is still technically canon, but it is more. The only way I can describe this is out of is to use something from Event Horizon. Is in effect grab a point in space, fold it, travels through. AKA Event Horizon technology.
The only
I've never
way
seen
you
that,
can
but the
destroy
folding thing
that-
just about.
Yeah, it's basically this.
Yeah.
Again, I'm starting to struggle now. So that's the way you can describe it. Is that it was a form of space folding technology, and they've used it a couple of times successfully before, but they were never able to get above 5-6 light years in terms of range. Very, very good, very, very accurate, but anything beyond 5 or 6 light years, you are severely risking, ending up like in a star or in a gravity well or something. You believe that they had activated it at the same time a exotic torpedo had hit them.
Wow, that's crazy timing.
As in, we need to get out of here now.
Oh, I see.
Boom.
Right. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
And they had ended up halfway across the universe 300,000 years ago.
Right.
The ship itself was one of the... It confirmed, as you said, the granddaughter of the Damocles, in effect, in terms of... It's not like the successor to the Damocles, but you can tell that there's influences from what became Project Damocles in the in this ship design. They just scaled it up.
It's curious that you were asked to test whether it was with Damocles with that in mind, Talek. With the Dominion, clearly you've got a better at figuring out the sort of signposts here than we are.
Partly, yes. Apparently they could not gain, I assume they could not gain access to the systems.
From what you could tell on the log, the first test was successful. The drive unit was able to move not far, because they're testing it on the ground, approximately 100 meters, which may not sound much, but it was a successful test, considering they were pretty much doing this from, I suppose you could say, from memory and from what they had recorded of the jump drive. Davin, as you were reading the logs, you notice they all end at exactly the same date and time.
Right.
You also notice that this date and time is exactly the same as the planned time for the second test.
Okay. So they attempted slingshot away, and probably we'll never know whether it succeeded or failed cataclysmically.
So literally, I'm going to say for example, it was like at 9:15 in the morning. Every log ends at exactly 9:15. Every single one you find.
I'm tingling about that. No one, I mean, maybe some Vulcan, but no other humanoid can be that accurate that they can coordinate that amount of exact stopping on their own.
They did not, since some of the log entries were complete, which would indicate a premature activation of the system or a malfunction.
Or that they simply didn't tell everybody that they were doing it.
Or the launch caused an EMP or something else that stopped all the other energy sources, so they could attempt the slingshot.
Well, the computer was off. It was shut down, right? But was it? Did it
Was
look
that-
like it had been
It basically
active?
it looked like it had been it was being used. As I say, the log that you found was like halfway through a sentence. It's like someone's gone. And
No,
then,
I mean when we found this terminal,
oh yeah, it was in standby mode.
it didn't have any inclination that it was an EMP that had shut it down.
No, not that you could tell. No,
Right.
unless it's stopped and rebooted. But it's actually I'll say Davin, yeah, you make a roll for this one, because this is probably something that one of your I'm going to say that maybe one of your previous hosts has maybe encountered before, something like this,
Sure.
like an EMP residue or that
I mean,
kind of
that's
thing.
fairly likely, actually. I've had a few
Yeah.
scientist hosts, so
So
sure.
I'm going to say that this is something you're going to.
So is this science or engineering? Or something? Yeah, what am I rolling?
Oh, fiddlesticks! So I've just noticed I've called something wrong. I'll change that. Don't worry.
Oh no! It's all gone wrong!
So that's it.
Parallel
Suddenly,
dimensions.
Q turns up and clicks his fingers. I'll change that later. I'll just. We'll just hand wave that. Okay.
Am I still rolling?
Yes. Still rolling. Yes.
What am I rolling?
This is. I think it's going to. Oh, it's going to be a science one, but I think I'm going to say insight of this one, because you're trying to access previous host memories, and I'll allow you to pick which host it's come from, because it's.
I'm just thinking if I've actually got an.
Yeah, you can just say it's an indeterminate one if you want.
I think I will for now.
Yeah, just get a vague impression that one of them has seen something like this before.
Yeah, I will for now, because I'm not entirely sure. I don't think any of my the ones I've written so far would have that.
Okay.
But,
Yeah,
I
we'll
think-
just go with, like, you know, it could have just been like they've discovered it on like a previous ship mission or something, so
Yeah.
that's fine. And yeah, so the impression you get from one of your symbiotic memories is EMP? Nah. This is an EMP result would have turned the computer completely off. It wouldn't have rebooted.
Yeah.
And if it did, it wouldn't have rebooted into the exact point. You know, the log was doing it. It would have rebooted into the standard Federation interface if it had a reboot system built into it, which it obviously doesn't. So you can pretty much eliminate the EMP result. But again, as you're poking around, you do find, say, references to the jump drive, to the test, and it does look like something went wrong. Something went very, very wrong. Tolek, you are the sciencey person,
I am.
so for you, I'd like to imagine.
Arguably, this might be more my area,
Okay. Oh, whoever.
Probably yes.
Okay. I'll say.
because I am also a sciencey person, but my
That is-
focuses are more to do with.
Actually,
Yes.
no. Thinking about it, actually, no. Davin is probably the better choice for this, I would say,
Yeah.
because of the nature of what's happened. So,
And also, he's the physics guy. I'm the.
and there's also ship.
Quantum mechanics as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
there's a definite air of quantum mechanics about
Being the
this.
science guy, I imagine Darren having the red color, not the blue color somehow.
Yeah, mainly. But his second, I think his
well,
second.
I mean,
variant-
actually, strictly speaking, he is currently assigned to the science department.
Okay.
But he's on the
So,
command.
yeah.
He's on the command track. He's doing a Janeway
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, I've never seen him working in science, but
I did in character once, okay?
you're on the roster. We accept it.
Yeah, it does it off. It does basically does it off
I'm
stream.
doing a track thing where I am going on assignment in different departments for a period of time. But actually, Davrin is very much sciencey. He's got science 4. So
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
So this will be science and insight. This is going to be
okay, so I've
a.
got a focus here. Yes.
Oh, definitely. You definitely got to
Yeah.
focus now. Normally this will be a DC of 5,
Oh.
but
So
your
what is it
your
then?
focus and drops it down to 4
Oh my god, that's still really, really high.
because this is you're seeing references to what may have happened. Like
should I just spend all the momentum I need to roll 5?
You know
dice?
what? Screw it. Fuck it. You can have this one. I'm not going to.
Alright, then I won't.
Don't roll. Because I'm going to have to go in a minute.
Okay.
You, from what you can tell, the second dry test of the drive, the replacement one, worked. but without the AI guiding it, it's basically made it very, very unstable. Every, I'm going to say, organic life form within 4 miles of the test site basically got atomized
Whoops.
at the subatomic level.
At least it was quick. Ooh.
No, it wasn't.
Oh god, it wasn't quick.
No, this took
My
about.
side skill is
This
telling me
took
I'm wrong on
basically from the initial pulse. There was a boom, and then it took about 10 seconds for every higher life form, well, every organic life form within 4 miles to basically disintegrate.
that. Oh, that's horrific.
Yeah.
Um,
You believe when the drive activated, it somehow tapped into a dimension of subspace that had energy within it that was not hospitable to organic life. That has then flooded out of the test chamber and pulsed out, destroying every life form within range
Alright.
at exactly 9:15.
Okay, so I'll relay that to Tira and Tolek. I think we have our answer for what happened here.
Yep.
So I guess the only thing left to do now is to try and destroy as much. Well, get back up to Damocles so we can destroy a settlement.
Yes.
Yeah. You believe that the. That's yeah. I know. It's Again, I'm just going to cut to the end because I really do need to go now. You retrieve what you can, despite what you find. It's the jump drive is still intact. You get a rather urgent call from the Damocles via Starfleet Intelligence and the Department of Temporal Investigations to retrieve the drive and then destroy everything you can on the planet. Takes a matter of
Everything on the planet?
everything that's Federation, that gives even the slightest hint that the Federation was here, needs to be destroyed.
No evil Tolek.
As the captain's relaying this to the bridge crew, he looks over at Tolek and makes eye contact, his eyes go wide with a sort of expression as if to say,
Tolek just slightly raises an eyebrow and
Okay.
continues work.
I'm really not keen on the idea that they keep the drive, to be honest. But I guess I'm not in a position to do anything about it. So
yeah, it's more, well,
But we always can do something about it. The question is, can we face the consequences?
yeah, true. Yeah.
when you eventually get back to Deep Space Nine, and whilst you're waiting there, Starfleet Intelligence and a few other people you've never seen before immediately swarm onto the Damocles and take the drive and start purging the Damocles' data banks of every single reference to this planet and this ship.
Right.
The last thing, and nobody took any records. I think, apart from the usual scan, I mean, we've retrieved all your tricorders. So
No, sir. That's all there is.
good. The episode ends panning down to Tolek's leg with his tricorder. Okay, and that's just going to end it.
Well, did the investigators just think he's extremely well hung or something?
No, it's more a case of it's just like, you know, the Sovereign Intelligence is like, Vulcan.
He just didn't say anything. It was
It's
just,
just like, yeah, didn't say a word.
Didn't lie.
No, that's the thing. Tonic didn't lie. He just didn't answer the question. Apparently he's a very well-endowed Vulcan. Walks with a limp. Right, okay. Again, thank you all for joining me tonight. I am going to have to end this early because I'm going to have to go and take some painkillers right now, and I'm going to crash out.
Chris, it's not really that early, so
Yeah.
It feels early for me. I think it's because it's the lights messing me around. So yeah, again, yes. Apparently he tucks it into his sock. Oh god, that's disgusting. So yes, thank you all very much for joining me today. Be more in a couple of weeks provisionally. Assuming everyone can still make it for a couple of weeks from now. If there's,
as far as I know, yeah.
okay. Well, so yeah, provisionally. So any dates for this will always be provisional in case things go wrong, or like my internet dies again, like half an hour before the stream, or there's something you've completely forgotten about, and things happen. So yeah, I'm going to be playing hopefully be playing some Lord of the Rings tomorrow. But if I'm feeling like I am now, I might give that a miss. Otherwise, I'm going to be back on Monday. So in the meantime, bid you all a good night and live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.
So,